Hello and welcome to Getting Goosebumps, the podcast where we venture into the spine-tingling worlds of R.L. Stine. My name is Stacy.
I am Alison, and a cat just knocked my earbuds out.
Meow. I'm the cat. Mickey.
Welcome to the podcast. Today we are going to talk about the
No, fifth.
the fifth book in the series, Curse of the Mummy's Tomb. Alison, would you like to give us a summary?
Yes, I would. And here it is.
Okay, good. I was going to say, well, that's great. Can you also actually do it?
Okay. On Christmas vacation in Egypt, Gabe, age 12, gets left with his Uncle Ben and his cousin, Sari, spelled S-A-R-I, for hearing, while his parents travel to nearby Alexandria for important refrigeration business. Uncle Ben is an archaeologist currently exploring pyramids, and Gabe is lucky enough to tag along with Sari and visit one. Several spooky pranks occur between the cousins, and the two are introduced to the uncle's team, which includes one of a man named Ahmed. The following day, Uncle Ben leaves for the hospital as two members of his team have turned up sick. Sari and Gabe defy orders to stay in the hotel, and they venture out to the nearby museum for their mummy exhibit. Ahmed appears and chases them through the building. He claims Uncle Ben sent him to collect them, so they scramble into his car, only to be driven in the wrong direction. Realizing that something is terribly wrong, these two take the first opportunity to jump out from the car and run back to the safety of their motel. Returning to the hotel, Uncle Ben tells the kids that his workers are in a state of shock, and he brings the two back to the pyramid so he can investigate. Gabe becomes separated from the group and falls through the floor into an undiscovered chamber. Full of mummies, preparation tools, a tar pit, and scorpions, this chamber turns out to be the preparation chamber of the Priestess Kala, and Ahmed is her descendant, hell-bent on enacting her curse. Sari and Uncle Ben turn up, but Ahmed knocks Uncle Ben out with a torch and sets the tar pit alight. He intends to turn them all into mummies. Sari and Gabe are loaded into a mummy case, with Uncle Ben in his own nearby. The three manage to escape their tombs, but Ahmed remains to mummify them. As a last resort, Gabe pulls out his lucky charm, a mummy hand. It is actually the hand of the Priestess Kala, and it brings the mummies in the room to life, scaring away Ahmed. Uncle Ben, Gabe, and Sari return to the hotel, and Gabe's parents return from their serious refrigeration business.
Thank you, Alison, for the lovely summary.
You're welcome.
All appreciate it. Excellent. So now that we've gone over the summary, I think we can discuss the book cover.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of my favorite colors. It's just a cool blue color.
Yeah.
Not cool blue, like a rad blue.
It's radical blue.
Radical blue.
I just like the color, the cover too. I like the mummy. There's a mummy.
Yeah, surprise! There's a mummy on it.
Is he standing up against a wall?
I think so. He's got glowing red eyes, and it says, "What will wake the dead?"
Yeah, and his wraps are coming a little bit loose. It's good. It's real good. I like it.
I like it too. It's good. I have no complaints. I really like the colors a lot. There's some nice shading and light effects going on. The composition is nothing to write home about. I wish that mummy was reaching out to me.
Ooh, that would be good. A nice hand coming into the foreground.
Yeah. But he's just kind of standing there looking, and that's okay too. He can do what he wants. Mummy.
I mean, yeah, now that you say that, it kind of looks like it's like the little caption says, "What will wake the dead?" It kind of looks like he's just trying to take a nap, and we just woke him up. It just looks like he's unhappy. He's like, "What are you doing here?" If his hand was reaching out, it'd be a little more aggressive, but it kind of just looks like he's like, "Go away, I'm trying to sleep."
Yeah.
Sorry, Mr. Mummy Man.
So, our story begins with Gabe, our protagonist. He is 12 and of Egyptian descent. He and his mom and dad are back in Egypt over the Christmas holiday for vacation, essentially. But this is where their family's from, so they really like going back and adventuring. Gabe's not too fussed about being there, I would say. Not too impressed. They're outside sightseeing, and he is extremely thirsty. And my very first note is that being thirsty is a legit concern.
Mm-hmm.
I know we haven't gotten... Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
It very much upset me that, that we started off this book with him repeatedly asking for a drink and his parents just kind of brushing him off.
They're very
Yeah.
annoyed that their child in the desert is thirsty.
Yeah, it's
Well-
super hot and it's Egypt.
Well, there's no refrigerators around, and they only get their drinks from refrigerators.
They also discuss Uncle Ben Hassad, who's an archaeologist. They're in Egypt. And mom and dad are both refrigeration equipment specialists. They have their own business that has to do with refrigeration equipment of some sort. And Uncle Ben's daughter is Sari, who's Gabe's cousin. Both his parents are called off on important business in Alexandria. So they discuss taking Gabe with them. He doesn't really want to go, and there's a bit of a back and forth. But so his mom talks to his Uncle Ben, and Uncle Ben says, "Yes, I'll stay with Gabe. That's fine." So his parents,
because as
yeah.
much as Gabe did not want to be here, the one thing that he was looking forward to is possibly getting to see inside the pyramids with his Uncle Ben. So that's why he really wants to stay.
yeah,
Yeah, I like Uncle Ben. I also like the parents, even though they tried to, have their child die from thirst.
Well, they also leave him for a little while in the hotel, which isn't too big of an issue, but also a little nerve-wracking that they left him there because Uncle Ben was on the way and would be there shortly. But they left to go catch a plane. And I'm just thinking, like, this is a time before people had cell phones and things like
Yep.
that. So it makes me a little nervous, but it also isn't necessarily unusual for the time.
Sure. I was thinking the same thing. I was like,
Yeah.
well, in normal circumstances, like, he's safe, he's in the hotel room, and it's only going to be an hour, and it should be fine. But then my 2020 brain is like, but what if something happens to Uncle Ben, and he has no way of contacting the kid? And even when he gets there, how is he going to get to his hotel room?
Mhm.
Who's going to let him in? Like, all these things are going through my head, but then really stuff like this sort of thing probably happened all the time. It was just like,
Well-
yeah, he'll be here in an hour.
Yeah, even
Hang
Gabe
tight.
says that though. He says like, what was taking them so long? I began to have horrible, frightening thoughts. What if they can't find the hotel? What if they get mixed up and go to the wrong hotel? What if they're in a terrible car crash and they die and I'm all by myself in Cairo for days and days? So, he has the same feeling. And he didn't even know what a cell phone was. So we're perfectly justified in thinking that.
True.
This is also when we're introduced to Gabe's mummy hand trinket,
Mhm.
which he kind of fiddles with, probably because he's a little anxious, but he keeps it with him. It's good luck. He bought it at a yard sale or something like that, I think.
He like found it in a dumpster. I don't know. Something very strange.
No,
but
he
it's-
definitely
got it.
bought it for $2.
Yeah,
No,
he
but I
got
just
it at a
mean,
yard
like-
sale.
I just mean like the terms of which he got this like ancient relic was very strange.
Hey man, you go yard sailing, you never know what you might find.
True.
Yeah.
The relic. The hand is small. It says it's about the size of a kid's hand, and it's
Mhm.
wrapped in like papery brown gauze. So I don't
Even
know.
that's kind of big to keep in your pocket all the time.
Yeah,
I
a
would say.
child's hand is a big hand. Yeah.
Think of like a shriveled child though. Like a dried out one that you sucked all the moisture out of.
So like a
like a
mandrake.
skeleton hand. You could fit that in your pocket.
I mean, you can fold up those bones, kind of rattle them around in there. But
Yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming. Here's what I'm assuming because, I mean, maybe the goddess priestess Kala was an adult. Maybe she was a child priestess. But I'm thinking she was an adult, and because she was mummified, her hand shrunk. No, bones don't shrink. No, I don't. Guys, I don't know how to do mummification.
Well,
Clearly.
everything else shrinks though.
Yeah, but
So-
bones don't shrink.
No, so if she was a petite woman
Hmm.
or a young woman, I mean, it's likely that she could have had a place of power and only been a teenager or something. She
True.
might have had quite small hands.
True,
and
but now I'm thinking I'm arguing with myself because you can shrink a head, and a head has a skull in it, and a skull is
right,
a bone.
they get that skull right out of there for that process.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go on a Google deep dive if we continue. I can't start looking up
Okay.
shrunken heads, so I'll do that later on my own time.
Okay.
Okay. Uncle Ben does actually turn up, though, except he first appears as a mummy at the door and terrifies poor Gabe. But this seems to be kind of a trend in the family where they pull pranks. and then Gabe gets scared and Sorry's mean to him about it. So that's just normal family stuff.
Normal Goosebumps 90s kids reacting like butts to each other,
Uncle Ben reveals that he has discovered a new tunnel within the pyramid. So he's very excited about this. They thought they had mapped out the entire pyramid, but he has something new. So he takes Gabe and Sorry to the pyramid to check it out. They make their way in. This is when I think a few times they mention that Gabe's shoe comes untied quite frequently. So he has to stop to tie it. They use a rope ladder at one point to go down into one of the tunnels, and Gabe starts to slip. He burns his hands because, of course, the rope kind of hurts. It's one of those ropes, that burns your hands a little bit.
Yeah, a regular rope.
No, I imagine it as like one of those sharp ones.
Like a pokey rope.
Yeah.
As opposed
So
to
it's a like natural fiber rope that you don't want to be sliding down. It's not a nylon rope.
Yeah, it's not like a tie up someone rope.
Ugly. Well, I mean, you could tie someone up with it. What are the requirements here for tying someone up?
I think Allison's talking about something very specific.
I'm talking about very specific.
I was immediately like, if you put someone in your trunk, like, does it really matter what rope they have?
Okay.
All right. So he burns his hands on the rope.
Uncle's Ben.
He has two uncles named Ben. His uncle's Ben.
Uncle's Ben.
Uncle's Ben was a good Ben.
Uncle Ben's team is already inside the pyramid, so they venture into a chamber and Gabe gets to meet the team. They're also introduced to this weirdo named Ahmed, who's from the university, but he's not part of the team. He kind of contacted Uncle Ben and said, "Hey, I study old languages and symbols, or I don't even remember. I want to come work alongside your team." So he's there, but it's kind of weird because he really believes in curses, and he's
essentially a fanboy.
Yeah, kind of, and he's stressed that what they're doing maybe not is great. Curses are involved.
Mm-hmm.
So the kids wander off because they get bored. Uncle Ben goes back to work. He's talking to his team, and Gabe finds a mummy case, which is super exciting. However, the mummy case opens. And we have a brief moment of being terrified before we realize that it's Sorry inside, and she is just pulling Gabe's leg again.
Another classic Sorry prank.
Sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry.
Oh, that would be her catchphrase.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then they get scolded a little bit for wandering off when Uncle Ben finds them. They're very sorry, but what else are they going to do? They're pretty bored down there, and they want to see mummies.
Yeah, there's only corpses all over, so.
The next morning, Uncle Ben and Sorry stay at the hotel with Gabe. But the next morning, two of Uncle Ben's workers have come down sick, and they've gone to the hospital. So Uncle Ben feels the need to go down there and be with them, of course, and he asks Sorry and Gabe to sneak. He asks Sorry and Gabe to stay at the hotel while he's away. But as we learned from the previous day, Sorry is very into breaking the rules and encourages Gabe to sneak out with her to go to the museum and visit the mummy exhibit. Gabe's, reluctant, but on board because he's super into mummies. He's, like an Egypt dork. He's very excited about mummies and stuff.
Like one of those Egypt dorks.
Who's going to have a better mummy exhibit than a museum in Egypt?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So they walk over there. It's a couple blocks away. And they're having a good time at the museum. They're goading each other a little bit. Gabe proceeds to explain to Sorry how they pull out the brain when they mummify people.
I loved this.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I was fully this kid, too. Because I don't really... It's funny, because now as an adult, like, real-life gore does kind of make me woozy. I'm not into it. But describing it is totally fine with me, or like when it's in a movie or something, and I have all the tolerance in the world for it. And the idea of making someone uncomfortable by just describing a medical process slowly is so funny to me.
I'm surprised she didn't know this already.
Right?
Yeah, I mean,
She seems like a bit of a know-it-all. You'd think she'd want to have that information in her back pocket, but
yeah, and that's her dad's job. Although Gabe probably doesn't know anything about refrigerators.
that's a good point.
So,
But she's also like there with her dad, and she goes into the chambers and stuff. I don't know. I
And
feel like it would have come up in conversation at some
Right?
point.
And she
but-
prides herself on knowing everything, but I think maybe she really does have like a phobia to gore or something. So when her dad maybe has brought it up, she has been like, you know what? I want to know everything about the Egyptians. I don't want to know about this.
yeah, just I want to know about like the cat worship and the coal eyeliner and the
Queens,
the queens, the
Queen
pharaohs, and all that
pharaohs,
stuff. The queen pharaohs. But I
the
don't want to know
lady
about
pharaohs.
there's the brain removal, or any of that. Thanks, Dad.
Whereas I always thought when I was a kid learning about ancient Egypt and mummies and stuff, I thought pulling a brain out with a hook was the greatest thing I'd ever heard of. No,
You know what?
just me?
No,
I think you're right. If when I was a kid and I was like I remember being like elementary school and hearing about like, oh, they're mummifying people and being like, cool. They put their lungs and their hearts in like jars. Oh man. But like now, I don't know why. Maybe I'm just much more fragile now. But like when I hear about this stuff now, I'm like, ooh, like it makes me cringe. Not because of like, I mean, cringe maybe isn't the right word, but it makes me, I don't know, maybe because makes me uncomfortable. Maybe because now I know that I am a mortal person.
Yes, I was just gonna say that.
Whereas a child, I would never have been mummified because I was going to live forever.
Yeah, exactly.
But now I'm a woman in my 30s, which, according to society, I'm essentially already a mummy.
I'm gonna make sure, Allison, no matter what happens to you, nobody pulls your brain out with a hook.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, that is
It's
all
the
I've
least
ever
I can
wanted to
do.
hear. I have that written in my will, but I just want to make sure
good.
somebody knows that.
Yeah. You hear that, everybody?
Yeah, all of
Protect her brain at all costs.
Leave it in there. Just let it turn to goop in there.
you can take mine out if you want.
Okay,
Yeah.
go
I
to
actually think
Stacy.
I might literally, like, real talk, I might donate mine to science. But...
Yeah, I probably will too. It's just a sack of meat when I'm done with it. Like, it's just the now thinking that freaks me out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Gabe and nope. Gabe.
We're all
We're at the
focused
museum.
today,
We're at
guys.
the mummy museum. Okay.
Mummies.
No, my God. What did you just yell at me?
I just yelled mummies.
Oh my god.
I
It was
think it
terrible.
would.
Yes, that's what I heard. I don't even know what it was.
I didn't think it would have that effect on you. I just said mummies excitedly. Okay, go, Stacy, go.
While Sari and Gabe are exploring the museum, Ahmed turns up out of nowhere. They're like, "Is that Ahmed? Yeah, I think it's Ahmed. What's he doing here?" And he proceeds to chase them because they panic, and I think they start to run. And he's like, "Where are you going?" And follows them.
Yeah, he's just staring at them, and he looked like pissed off.
Yeah, he's being a real creeper. So they take off, which is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Yes.
But he tracks them down. He gets them to stop finally, and he's said that Uncle Ben sent him, and he's there to pick them up. Oh, which is a classic, in the books. Something you're supposed to be cautious of. You're supposed to have a safety word. He didn't have a safety word. They got into his car, and he
get in the back of my van.
Yeah, he drives away with them in the wrong direction, essentially. But good on Gabe. Gabe noticed they were going in the wrong direction, and he made it clear to Sari that they needed to get out of the car. So at the next opportunity, when the car slows down or stops because traffic is horrific, the two jump out of the car and run away. They have a slightly awkward exchange with a cab driver because they've run, they don't know where they are, they panic, but they, again, do the right thing, and they ask a cab driver, "Hey, where is this hotel?" And he just starts to laugh and laugh because apparently they're right across the street from their hotel and they didn't notice.
I thought it was pretty funny. I would have laughed too. These dumb American kids. They're either
It's
dumb
true.
and don't realize the hotel's right there, or they're so lazy and American they want me to drive them across the street.
But I just love that they did the right thing. They did so many
Yeah.
good steps in this, and
Mhm.
I think that's cool to put in a kid's book. Like, if you're in that situation, you might remember, what did those kids do in the Goosebumps book? Oh, they asked the taxi driver because he's likely going to know where the hotels are in the area.
Yeah.
That was
He's
cool.
likely to be able to speak a little bit of English because they were
English,
also
yeah.
concerned that no one around spoke English.
So
Smart
they were,
kids?
yeah, it was really good. I was like so proud of them. They're not my kids, but I was proud of them.
They're good kids.
They get back to the hotel, and Uncle Ben finally returns. He explains that his workers are in shock. Something's happened. He's not quite sure, but he wants to go back to the pyramid. Of course, the kids freak out because they don't want to be left alone. They don't feel safe right now. So he takes them with him. Maybe not the best solution in this case. This is like the one time where I'm like, no, they should probably stay at the hotel. That seems a little safer. But so they head back. However, once inside, Gabe has one of those shoelace issues and gets
One of
left behind.
those.
Yeah, one of his earlier. This has happened like 4 times now in the book.
Do you
I need to
think
get some
that this
Velcro
book
shoes.
was a like backdoor commercial for those shoelaces that just are like springs at the end that you don't have to tie?
Oh.
No,
You just
but I would
busted
love
this
those.
case wide open.
Yeah.
It's a good idea,
I would
Yeah.
like some of them too.
and they were
Let's-
cool at the time.
Yeah, let's get some, guys.
Yeah, let's make a pact to have spring laces.
We'll be the only mid-30s ladies walking around with springy shoelaces.
Uh-huh.
Gabe gets left behind. Of course, the other two go on ahead and don't hear him shouting for whatever reason. So he proceeds to carry on through the pyramid for a while. And I feel like this is just the wrong thing to do in this case. He's like, I have to keep moving forward. They're right around the next corner, right around the next corner. When
Yeah.
probably going backwards is in towards the entrance was the right thing to do.
I
But
was
he-
thinking that too. I like as it was happening and he kept moving forward, I was like, yes, they walked ahead of you, but when they realize you're missing, the first thing they're going to do is backtrack. So just stay in one spot and wait for them to come back to you.
Yeah. Or it didn't seem like they were too far from the entrance. So to go farther in, it's a maze of tunnels and stuff. But to go back, where
Yeah.
am I going to go? Yeah, I wasn't impressed with his choices there. But hey, he's
Mhm.
12.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But he does proceed forward, and at one point, the floor collapses beneath him,
Ugh.
and he ends up in a very surprising chamber. That
Yes.
he discovers. Yes.
I mean, the whole thing is surprising, Stacy.
Inside this chamber, Gabe finds a whole host of mummies. They're not in mummy cases. They're just out and about
Mhm.
Hanging
doing
out.
mummy things. Yeah, standing around. I think one is crouched next to a tar pit because
Mhm.
there's a tar pit. There's a bunch of preparation tools for preparing mummies. It's not something Gabe has seen in person before. This is very I know you said it's not surprising, but I think for him it's surprising because this is a new
Yeah.
chamber.
Well, yes, and by that logic, I do agree with you. But I think, just landing in a chamber and saying, hey, there's mummies, that in itself wouldn't have been surprising, because not all of the mummies in the tombs would have sarcophaguses. I know this from Discovery Channel as a child, that servants would be mummified and just kind of, left around. But,
Didn't know that.
I mean, I know. Okay,
And they
okay.
also look fresh.
No,
Yeah,
no,
they
no.
look
I'm sorry. I think I
old.
cut off. I just was saying to Allison, I didn't know that. That's a cool fact.
Oh, I thought you said he didn't know that, and I was
No,
like,
no,
well,
no.
maybe.
I
Okay,
mean,
sorry.
sorry. Yeah, I figured I cut off a little.
Okay, yeah, well, yeah, it's, just throw in Gerald because he's a good servant. But yeah, no, I definitely was gonna say that even after being in that chamber for more than 10 seconds and being like, okay, wait a minute, these mummies don't look like 4,000-year-old mummies. These look like my neighbor got wrapped up in some toilet paper yesterday mummies.
Yeah. So it's super weird.
Yeah, and concerning.
Very concerning. But even more concerning for Gabe is that the chamber is also full of scorpions.
Yeah, which is a spooky thing in general, but also
Live
insects.
scorpions.
Yeah, they're insects and they travel in the sand, so it's not that surprising. But they're
Doesn't have to be
spooky.
surprising to be alarming and concerning.
Yes, yeah, I agree. Okay, I agree. You got
They
me
will
there.
sting you and kill you.
Are they venomous?
They are venomous,
Poisonous?
yes.
I mean,
I don't know that you will die from a
so I know like a
scorpion.
tarantula can bite you and it just hurts a bunch. But you don't die.
Yeah, most spiders. Well, spiders all have venom also, but most of their bites are not harmful to humans.
Mm-hmm.
But scorpions don't bite you. They stab you with their little tail.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they're
And I think
butt
that
swords.
can be quite damaging if untreated.
Yeah, I think most things that impale you with a toxin can be deadly if left untreated.
True. You know what? I'm gonna take that to the bank.
Yeah.
That's good advice right there. Hey guys, you get impaled by something? Go to the doctor, please.
Yeah, especially if there's venom in there.
Thanks. I feel good now. Gabe encounters the scorpions, and Sorry turns up, who catches him just in time before he falls. He trips and falls into a whole host of the scorpions.
Oh god, he just falls so much.
I don't think the scorpions really come up again. Maybe they just scatter away, but they
Yeah.
don't discuss them in great detail again.
No.
So our scorpion troubles are over.
Yay!
Our
Yeah.
Ahmed troubles are not.
No.
He turns up.
I would prefer the scorpion.
This is when he starts to do his exposition to explain that they are in the preparation chamber of the priestess Kala, who he
Yeah.
is a descendant of.
He monologues.
Yeah, he does.
He does
really
the
does.
supervillain monologue. He's like, "Welcome to my lair. Here's my whole plan and what I've been doing for months you have no idea about, but I'm going to tell you."
Mm-hmm. Even though you're children.
I think he's just lonely.
Sorry kind of keeps him going intentionally.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah.
Which
She
is
keeps
another
him
point in the
talking.
smart column, is she
Yeah.
keeps him talking.
Yeah, she's a jerk with her pranks, but I really like her as just like she's a smart cookie. She's a good kid.
I like it too. I didn't like it at first because she got real kind of snotty with Gabe, and I was like, that's lame. But also she's young, and I think they're both gonna grow up to be good people.
They're going to
Yeah.
form a wonder team of
Yeah.
teenage detectives.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
that would be
That
super
would be
cool.
so fun.
Yeah, I
I wanna
would
read
watch
that
and
book.
read that. Yeah, heck yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's such a good idea.
Trademark. Copyright.
So Ahmed is a descendant, and he is there to fulfill Kala's wishes. She has issued a curse on anyone who disturb her tomb, and all of her descendants throughout time have been sure to enact the curse on trespassers. So that is why the room is full of mummies, old and new.
Mhm.
And also, so a lot of the books we've read so far have some sort of curse element. Once again, R.L. Stine is kind of having fun with what a curse means to him, because this isn't so much as of a curse as much as it is a series of people murdering other people
Yeah.
in perpetuity. You know?
Yeah.
He's not doing anything magical. He's
No.
just mummifying people alive and killing them.
Yeah.
Right?
Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, because in Say Cheese and Die, we had Spidey who was like, so this camera like predicts and or changes the future so that evil things happen or whatever. And, I've been trying to hide it and, you know about it. So now I have to kill you. Whereas Ahmed's like, so my great-great-grandmother, with 17 more greats in there, she was like a priestess, and this was her pyramid, and I'm pretty sure she doesn't want anyone in here, so I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah. That's about it.
There's really no more to it than that. I don't think he if the priestess Kala appeared as a ghost and was like, Ahmed, through my wrath, then it'd have a little more. But it's just Ahmed's a dick.
Yeah, there's no like personal accountability where he's like, that doesn't seem like a good idea. I don't think I'm gonna do that.
He's just a butt.
Yeah, but like Indiana Jones, Uncle Ben comes down from the ceiling via rope ladder. he swings on in, and he's like,
Dun, 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 dun.
"Stop right there! Don't mummify these children."
And then,
And
also
then
like Indiana Jones,
he gets knocked out by a torch.
yep, and slumps
Yay!
unconscious.
Thanks, Uncle Ben. Thanks.
Why did it have to be scorpions?
Ahmed then takes the torch and lights the tar pit on fire for dramatic effect. He's heating it up so that he can mummify them. And he puts Uncle Ben in a mummy case. These are described as like wooden cases. They're quite tall, actually, and quite long. That they would put mummies inside. I'm guessing multiple mummies by the size that they describe these cases. Because then he puts Sari and Gabe into another mummy case, and they both can sit up without hitting their heads. And then he describes it as there's enough room for them to lay down, but it is full of bugs, which isn't super fun, I would say.
No.
But
Yeah.
then Uncle Ben turns up inside the mummy case with them. And they're like, "What? How did you get in here, Uncle Ben?" And Uncle Ben explains that mummy cases have escape hatches so that the soul can open the little door and leave.
I like how instead of Uncle Ben like opening the door and being like, "Okay, kids, come on, let's go, let's get out of here," he opens up the little door and comes into the sarcophagus or whatever with them, and he's like, "Hey, kids," while he's 2 inches away from them, "I found an exit. Let's go."
Yeah, it is kind of weird to imagine them all in this case together.
It's like going into the bathroom stall with each other just to let them know that the door is open.
And he didn't. I think it's strange they didn't know like if he opens
They
the little
didn't know!
door, and like how it has to be big if it fit a grown man.
Yeah, it's just the
You'd
size
think
of
you'd
a.
notice it opening.
It's the side of a hatchback.
But so they're able to get out through this surprise escape hatch. Lots of surprises.
It's all surprising, starting with
Surprise.
landing in a room full of mummies.
Surprise escape hatch.
Mm-hmm.
They attempt to leave, but of course, Ahmed shows up again.
He's back.
He just really wants to mummify them. I don't know why he left, but he's back.
Well, he doesn't want to mummify them anymore. Remember?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
He says old what's her name is very unhappy, and
Yeah, he went outside to address his magic 8-ball to find out what the Priestess Kala wants. It's like, I gotta go out in that hallway and try to figure out what my great grandma wants. Hang on a sec.
Yeah, and then he comes back and he's like, board. So we talked, and good news, bad news. Good news, she does not want to mummify you anymore. Bad news, I'm just gonna murder you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what would be the difference there? Why murder?
Honestly, I would take the murder over the live mummification.
Yeah, but for him, like, what?
Oh, yeah,
what is
I don't
the
know.
difference? They just don't want them to hang out there for eternity.
I guess. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either. But before that can happen, Gabe pulls out that mummy hand we talked about earlier, and he holds it up, and guess what? It is a real mummy hand, and it is the hand of Princess Kala. I don't know how we recognize it.
I don't know how he found it at a yard sale over in America. I don't know.
But I think Ahmad recognizes it.
Yeah, like how do you know?
He has a very special connection, and he just knows. When
It's
you know,
special.
you know. Yeah.
I've dreamed of all the times we played thumb wrestling, and I recognize that thumb.
And then we have a moment that just kind of infuriates me because the mummies come alive, and it's amazing, and it's such a dramatic scene, and they go for Ahmed, and Gabe closes his eyes because he's so scared of what they're going to do to him. But when he opens his eyes, Ahmed is fleeing down one of the tunnels, never to be seen again, presumably. And I'm just so mad that we had this amazingly dramatic scene that didn't end with him being thrown in the tar pit.
Yeah. It makes me wonder, like, if the implied rules of this particular little universe is that the mummies are not actually coming back to life, but the magic is, and the curse is what is projected into your mind.
Oh, so it's more like a fear tactic.
Yeah, because and
Psychological.
I only think that that might be it because so maybe the mummy's hand or the curse or whatever made everyone in that room see the mummies as picking up Ahmed and getting ready to throw him in the tar pit. But what was actually happening was none of that, and Ahmed just got scared and ran away. Just like the workers who came down with some weird type of shock. Ahmed implies that he put the fear of being boiled alive into them.
Oh, that does make sense, but I'm still kind of
I
disappointed.
know, me too. I mean, I wish the little, even if it was a little fantasy nightmare thing, like let
Yeah.
the fantasy nightmare go all the way to throwing them in the tar pit. That would have been great.
Well, I mean, it could be that they're suffocating from the tar pit fire, and inhaling the fumes of the tar pit fire, and that's what's causing them to hallucinate.
Not as fun to me.
I know, but it
But
could be because
maybe.
because like Gabe talks
Dude,
about feeling dizzy and the pit and the fumes are
Oh.
overwhelming. I'm gonna
Oh,
faint.
really? Oh,
Yeah,
no. Oh,
yeah.
no.
maybe it's a combination.
I'm so disappointed.
I know, I'm so sorry, Stacy, that real mummies didn't really throw a man in a pit.
Yeah.
It's all I wanted to, trust me.
Well, and then they return to the hotel and mom and dad come home and whatever.
Oh, hang on though. We
Well,
have
I'm
to.
The
just
end.
bitter.
The
No, we
end.
need to incorporate the most critical, important part of this whole
Stacy's
entire
over
goddamn
it.
book. Listen to me. Uncle Ben turns to Gabe, who's holding the mummy's hand after they've escaped. And Uncle Ben says to Gabe, "Thanks for the helping hand."
Oh,
The
God.
best part of the book.
Oh, no.
Yes. Oh, yes. Dare you disrespect Uncle Ben like this?
Uncle
Anyway, that's been our
Ben.
podcast. Bye, everybody.
Have a great night.
I know that you didn't do a fashion report for this book because you said you were going to take a
No.
break, but
But
I
you
would
should,
like to
because there were
say
definitely lots of fashions
I would like
described.
to say that I noticed there's the section where they're either walking to the museum. I think they're walking to the
To the
museum.
museum.
Then
Yeah.
they're like, look at all these people out in the street. It almost looks like America because a lot of dudes are in suits, which I guess lots of dudes wore suits back in the 90s. And I see a bunch of women wearing oversized shirts and leggings. It made
Yeah,
me
I
laugh.
liked that scene too, but
Mm.
I think it was just describing that. I thought it was like a very interesting way to describe that. It's a major city in an eastern part of the world, but it's or Middle Eastern part of the world, and it's there's because it's such a major hub and a tourist destination, they're seeing all different types of people.
Yeah.
So they describe people dressed more like Western, like wearing suits and like stuff that's considered fashionable to them. And then they see people in more traditional, like desert wear type clothes.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool. I did enjoy that. I did
liked
enjoy
that a
that
lot
section.
as well. But I did
Yeah.
also get a giggle from the ladies wearing the exact same outfit that all the girls in the earlier books are wearing.
He's got to get that in every one.
Yeah. That's how you guys like leggings. I got some in this book.
Yeah, if I ever meet the man, I might have to ask him about the leggings thing.
Yeah. What if he's wearing leggings when you meet him?
Well, then I won't have to ask the question. Asked and answered.
Yeah, fair enough.
So there is no episode for this
No,
book, sadly.
unfortunately. No.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to me.
Mhm.
That's crazy to me.
I think it's because it's likely a location thing.
I guess.
It's not something they would necessarily have the budget for because it definitely
Yeah.
takes place in Egypt. I mean,
Yeah,
you
that
can
would
fake it,
that
of
would
course,
be my
but
guess is the budget, not like just to because they didn't
yeah.
film the show in LA
No,
either.
in Canada.
In Canada, so like it would be harder to make a location look like a desert than say if it was filmed in LA, they could just drive out to the desert. I don't know. Just if budget wasn't an issue, this would be a great episode. It would just be
Yeah.
so cool. So
I agree. I
it's
loved the
sad.
book. Yeah.
Yeah. It's sad that there's not an episode for this one.
Yeah. I think it would have been really cool, but It's all right. There'll be an episode for when we read the sequel to this.
Oh, interesting.
Because every time I go into the Goosebumps Netflix like section and I see like Return Mummy, and then it's like no, Return of the Mummy.
Oh gosh, I wonder if Ahmed's gonna come back.
He must, right?
Yeah, he has to.
He got away, so
What a
we'll
jerk.
just have to wait and see.
Okay, do you want to do our ratings?
Yes.
Okay, we all rated this pretty high when we read it the first.
I feel like this was a really, really good book, and I think we discussed this before about there potentially being a ghostwriter involved, and for me, this book really stands out as like a very strong book. Like it's written very well. It kept me interested, whereas some of the other ones don't do that.
It is. It's enjoyable to read. It doesn't feel like my mental health isn't very great lately, but still it's an enjoyable read. And it mixes like real life fearful stuff with, a good dose of that old curse magic. But
yeah, so I wonder if some of the books are actually written by other people, or maybe just some of the stories are stronger than others. I have no idea. But I feel like this book actually carried me through the whole thing, whereas some of them you just kind of have to plod through.
Yeah, I agree. I was thinking while reading this one that something that feels like a drag sometimes in these books is when we're establishing stuff and no actual spooky events have happened yet. But in this book, it didn't really rely on goose hangers that much and ploys like that, but it was still just the descriptions of everything were enough to be really engaging throughout the whole thing. It didn't feel like it really lulled at all.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, though. There weren't that many goose hangers. There were like a few, but it wasn't anything like super. Like, for example, like one of them was Gabe in the hotel room waiting for his uncle. It's just about time for his uncle to get here, and in walks a mummy. Say, okay, well, that
doesn't feel cheesy. It feels
no,
on
it doesn't
point.
feel cheesy. Yeah, that doesn't feel cheesy. I expect that this is not. I'm like, even reading this as a kid, I'm sure I was like, I don't think that that's an actual mummy. It's most likely his uncle, and it was his uncle playing a joke on him. His uncle, the archaeologist, who works with mummies. It makes sense. It's not a cheap trick. It's not a cheap scare. It's I have uncles who would do the same. But yeah, no, I agree that it is a very good book. I think I gave it last time. I gave it 4 out of 5. I think I'm gonna still give it 4 out of 5. I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5. Refrigeration businesses.
Nice.
Yeah.
I have not reviewed what I gave it last time, but this time I'm going to give it 4.5 out of 5 beds of scorpions.
Oh, it's extremely close to what your score was last time.
Nice. I'm consistent.
You are very consistent.
I'm torn. I want to rate this somewhere between 4 and 5, or even between 4.5 and 5. I'm scared about giving something a 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
Like, that's a personal
You know
problem.
what? It's your life, Stacy. Don't let anybody hold you down.
And you know what? I was thinking too, because I listened to another podcast that involves ranking things, and that sort of comes up where they're like, well, I gave that place, a 5, and this is better, so now what do I do? I say, feel free to give it a 5 if you want to give it a 5, and if we ever want to retroactively go back and change them for scale, I think we should be able to do that.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
When we get to One Day in Horrorland, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 5, so just prepare for that.
That's fair.
That's fine. I think I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5.
Nice.
I have to think of a
cute quip thing.
Well, I think last time I did the Arabic cereal boxes.
Oh, yeah, you did 4 out of 5 mini cereal boxes in Arabic. Mickey, you had done 4.75 mummy hands.
I'm going to do 5 out of 5 water bottles because he should have had a water bottle.
He should have had a water bottle. You're
And
absolutely right.
I want to hydrate this child.
Yes. It's okay. He eventually got some milk in his Arabic frosted flakes.
Nice.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, so I really feel like I enjoyed this experience, and I think it's a good book. So in the moment, 5 out of 5.
Yes, I also very much enjoyed this book. Listeners, don't be deceived that my voice sounds like a little sleepy. It's just because I'm a little sleepy. So
We're all
I
a little
did.
sleepy.
Yeah, we're all a little tired today, but we all really enjoyed the book. Don't listen to don't listen to how we say it. Just listen to what we say.
Well, it's less exciting when we all feel the same way about the book.
I know. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, I like this book. What about you?
Yeah,
I
we
liked it
agree.
too. And you? Me too. Okay.
Have a nice day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say also to listeners who have not read the book, if you are sort of a visual person and you do artwork or you just like visualizing spaces, I would say read the last 4 or 5 chapters of this book to get the description of that chamber that they're in. And what happens with it, the tar pit gets lit on fire and there's all of these mummies everywhere. It sounds like so cool and I can't wait to try to draw it.
Yes, I would love a wallpaper of that scene.
Ooh, that would be
heck
cool.
yeah. Yeah, it's really, really well done. It's a rich book.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Not a long book, but
No.
very I was gonna say thick, but that's not what I meant.
It's deep.
It's vivid.
There we go. We're good at words.
That's also not saturated.
Yeah.
There we go. That's what I was trying to think of.
Yeah.
Saturated with immersion, I would say this book is.
Yeah. It also takes place over a fairly quick period of time, but I don't feel like rushed when I'm reading it, and it doesn't seem to drag either.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes I'll be like, okay, then the ghost came up to us. 3 weeks later, we were walking down the road. It's like, okay, all right,
Yeah,
are you okay over there?
It's paced well.
Yeah, there's no like random arbitrary like time skips or it's just it's great. I enjoyed it.
Well, I'm glad we're ending on a high with this book because next we are going to read book number 6, Let's Get Invisible.
Oh,
no!
gem! Hidden, a hidden, beauteous gem of a book.
So Let's Get Invisible is next if you'd like to read along with us, or you can skip it. That's entirely up to you and highly recommended for this.
Yeah, you should just skip it. Don't bother.
But we will chat about it. In the meantime, you can find us on social media at Goosebumps Pod. Feel free to write to us, ask your questions, concerns, show us your artwork. Let's talk about Goosebumps. We're on board. But
do you know R.L. Stein? Can you get us a meeting with him?
We need to ask about the leggings.
We do.
But we do appreciate you taking the time to listen to us, and we hope to see you back here next time. Stay spooky.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Oh, that was a lovely ooh.
That was a very pretty ooh.
That was good.
I'm looking at a picture of a jack-o'-lantern right now, so I really felt it in my
That
soul.
helps. Yeah.
Mhm.